Hello everyone, my name is Michael Steiner and I'm doing my final presentation for our MHA 641 class on golf tourism and resort golf. And I picked it because for me, for tourism, like I'm a golfer, I love golf, and it's becoming more and more of a bigger deal for people to kind of go around, find these cool places that even can be very remote, parts of the world or even parts of the US and play golf. And it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing. More and more people are getting into golf and more people are spending, their vacation time traveling to play great golf. So let's get started, talk about a little history of the golf. So golf started in Europe around the 1400s. Reports vary about the exact location and time frame, but golf was officially approved as an activity by King James IV of Scotland in 1502. And then as golf started to grow in Scotland, it started to be more and more taken by the royalty there. So golf grew more and more as more royalty started playing the game, so England and France and so forth. The first rules were published in 1744 as the Articles and Laws in Playing at Golf, and with that came also the very first golf club that was formed in 1744. However, in 1754, the St. Andrews Society of Golfers was formed as another golf club, and it's still active today, and it's probably one of the most famous golf clubs in the world. The other big thing that they also built their first 18-hole golf course at St. Andrews in 1764, and that's a big deal because originally golf used to be 22 holes, and then now at St. Andrews it became 18 holes, which is still the standard today. And then so as golf kind of grew and as England grew their territory, golf was started to be played all over the world in the 1800s. We're talking about Ireland, Australia, Hong Kong, South Africa, Canada, and the United States. So now golf is being played, in all different parts of the world. So we'll get along here to the U.S. So the United States Golf Association was created in 1894 to oversee golf in America. And the Royal and Ancient Golf Association, they oversee golf everywhere else. They're the ruling bodies of the world. The USGA, they're the ruling bodies here for golf in America. The USGA created two national events that are still played today, the US Amateur and the US Open for professionals. The US Open is considered the national open obviously for the US, and then there's the Open Championship. That one's considered the championship for everyone else in the world. So those are the two of the four biggest events in golf. And then so now we're going to talk about resort golf here in the United States, and there's three key destinations I wanted to talk about in this presentation: Pebble Beach, Bandon Dunes, and Destination Kohler. And these are kind of when you think of resort golf or you think of destination golf, these are pretty much the first three that come to mind. We'll start with Pebble Beach Golf Resort. So Pebble Beach Golf Resort is located in Monterey, California. It's about a 90-minute drive from San Jose and about 2 hours from San Francisco, Oakland. So it's not too difficult to get to if you're flying in one of those major cities. Pebble Beach opened February 22nd, 1919, and it quickly rose to become one of the most prominent courses in the country. It held its first major event, the US Amateur, in 1929, and continued to host major events until it was finally able to host the biggest tournament in America, which was that US Open that we talked about in 1972. Pebble Beach would go on to host 5 more US Opens, but the last one just happened last year in 2019. Right now, it's ranked the 7th greatest golf course in America by Golf Digest, who puts out a semi-annual ranking for golf courses. It's also surrounded by multiple elite golf courses. There's Spyglass Hill, Cypress Point, and numerous other ones, which encompass what is called 17-mile road, where it's kind of this basically 17 miles of road that goes in and around the entire way of Monterey. It takes you up to Pebble Beach, it takes you to Spyglass, it takes you to Cypress Point, and just kind of a really cool drive that tourists and golf fanatics can come and just take a trip and drive around and see what's there. What makes Pebble Beach so special is it gets national TV coverage every year. It hosts an annual PGA Tour tournament that's broadcasted all over the world every year in February. While most of the country is freezing and cold temperatures, they turn on the TV and they see the beauty of Pebble Beach and they want to visit it every more. Pretty much all the locations that we're going to talk about on this in this report, other than Bandon Dunes, they have some type of big golf coverage, and that's one of the big reasons why golf tourism is what it is, though, because people can see it on TV, and then like, hey, they can watch their greatest players, they can watch Tiger Woods, they can watch Jack Nicklaus back in the day, play these golf courses, and then they can say, hey, I can play that course too. And that's one of the biggest benefits for golf tourism. It's the regular people can play golf as the same courses that the professionals could play. Pebble Beach is kind of considered the Disney World of golf, if you consider it, for golf tourists. They've got 3 world-class courses spread around the 17-mile road that I talked about. They have shuttles, take players one course to another. There's hotels in the area that are part of the golf courses. Basically, they understand like their attention to detail is not lost on the employees that these people are coming, they want to be wowed, because Pebble Beach can be pretty expensive depending on how much you do and what you get them. So, they're coming for the experience playing one of the greatest golf courses in the world, but they also come back for that experience and the service they receive while being at Pebble Beach. And you'll see, most of these tourist hubs, they realize that the golf course is a big factor, but obviously, their experience and customer service levels is the other big reason why people come to these areas. So that's the first one. Kind of the new kid on the block is Bandon Dunes Golf Resort. If we consider Pebble Beach the gold standard, Bandon Dunes is probably slowly starting to become the new gold standard. It's located in a very remote area in the northwest part of the country in Bend, Oregon. To get to Bandon, it's either a 2.5-hour drive from Eugene, Oregon, or a 5-hour drive from Portland, Oregon, to a very remote coastal town. However, that remoteness does not stop any golf tours from coming to Bandon, just because of all the great publicity and press that have happened in Bandon since Bandon started. The first course opened in 1999. And that first course that was Bandon Dunes, it was opened in 1999. It was designed by an architect called David McLeod Kidd. And the owner of Bandon Dunes, Mike Kaiser, he wanted something of a Scotland of the West Coast. Kaiser was a golf course an aficionado. He saw those iconic courses in Scotland and England. They were purely links golf and wanted to have something similar in the United States. And he saw that none of that existed or was even remotely close to the link style of golf that he saw in the UK. So he said, okay, he had this great property right on the coast of the Pacific Beach. It's rugged. You get a lot of, you don't feel like you're in the US when you're here. You feel like you're in somewhere in Scotland or Ireland or England. And that was the goal of what Mike Kaiser wanted with all of his courses there. So Bandon was the first one. It opened in 1999. The second course, Pacific Dunes, it opened in 2002. Third course, Bandon Trails, opened in 2005. The fourth course, Old McDonald, opened in 2010. And just recently, earlier this year, the fifth course, Sheep Ranch, opened in 2020. Bandon Dunes has received many great accolades. It's a really big deal for for the U.S. golf player, and it's golf magazines have rated all their courses highlights. Both Bandon Dunes and Pacific Dunes have been ranked in the top 20 of golf courses you can play in America pretty much ever since they opened. One of the big things is why you see Scotland on the Pacific coast of America, and then also that the town revolves around the golf. So the tiny town of Bandon, basically all it is the golf course. That's it. It's pretty much just the golf course. There's the hotels on the property. There's some restaurants, and that's it. That's all that the course goes around. And it's the same thing you would see if you go to one of the bigger St. Andrews in Scotland. That's all it is. Basically, the town is there for the golf course and vice versa. And the remoteness of the area is a positive because when you're there, you're just there for golf. You're not there for anything else. You're there to play golf. You're there to enjoy the scenery, have a great time, and that's kind of what they market as. Some people might see remoteness as a negative, but people that are going to Bandon know they're going in the middle of nowhere, and you're just there to play golf and take in the sights. And that's a really exciting thing about Bandon Dunes. Bandon also started the idea that link-style golf course in America could work. You had to make sure you had the right scenery, the right soil, the right courses. So you couldn't just do it anywhere. It wouldn't Scottish link style wouldn't work here in Las Vegas. We just don't have the right soil and the right area. But Bandon shows it could work, and so the next big project, and actually it's a Mike Kaiser project, is that he's building sandhills in Nebraska, but instead of using coastal rugged line, he's using mammoth sand dunes to kind of get that link style of golf. So that's two of them, and the last one we're going to talk about is called Destination Kohler. And this is located along the shores of Michigan and Wisconsin. And this is the brainchild of Herb Kohler Jr. He wanted basically to bring his own kind of stamp on golf, and he wanted to have his own championship level golf courses, right in his backyard in Wisconsin. So he worked with a renowned architect, Pete Dye, and they built 4 golf courses. 2 at a place called Black Wolf Run, that started in 1985, and 2 at a course called Whistling Straits in 1998. And the Straits course of Whistling Straits is his major championship venue. And when Pete Dye was building it, Herb Kohler gave him the ideas hey, I want Ireland in America. When you come to Straits course of Whistling Straits, I want to think you're in Ireland. And that was kind of what Pete Dye did when he built it. And you can see the coastline and the bunkering and the grasses. You don't think you're in America. You think you're pretty much in Ireland. And that's what he wanted. It's ranked in the top 5 of American public golf courses, as well as it's ranked 21st in all American golf courses. And so people are coming here by droves. They're coming by the thousands every year. They're basically pumping money into this tiny town of Kohler, Wisconsin, because of these golf courses. And it's the same thing in Monterey for Pebble Beach. It's the same thing in Bandon for Bandon Dunes. Like the golf course is the star. Like these cities, they aren't what they are without the golf courses. People travel just for them. And that's kind of the tourism, that's the local economy part of that. So that's the United States. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the United Kingdom, since obviously this is the big deal. We'll talk about the St. Andrews, which is the biggest, which obviously is the most iconic and the oldest, and then kind of talk about a little bit of Scotland, Ireland, and England. So, St. Andrews. This is considered the largest golf complex in the world. There are 7 golf courses located around 2 clubhouses that makes the entire golf clubs that was started in 1754 when the Royal and Ancient Golf Club was founded there. The Old Course is the most historic golf course in the world. You can talk to pretty much anyone around the world, they know about St. Andrews. It has hosted the Open Championship a record 23 times. And ideally, the Open Championship comes there about every 5 years. So, as people grow up and get older, like they have many memories of just watching the Open Championship on TV. Like the other courses that we talked about earlier, St. Andrews is public. There are multiple ways to get on the old course. There's ways you can get on cheaply, and there's ways you can get on, more expensively. The more expensive way is, you're basically booking a tourism package through a travel agent. It's like, hey, this is how I'm getting on the course. You're going to pay a lot of money, but you're guaranteed to get on and play it. Whereas the cheapest way is you put your name on what they call the daily ballot. And that gets drawn every day. There's no guarantee you're going to get on, but obviously if you get on, you're going to pay a lot less than you would be your guarantee if you're doing one of those guaranteed times through the old course. Just time the risk you take, though. So if you got a couple days, it's worth it. If you're only in there for 1 or 2 days and you want to play, that's probably your best option is to pay the money. So we talked about the Open Championship. They have a rotation of 10 golf courses where that Open Championship will play. There's 4 in England, there's 5 in Scotland, and then there's 1 in Ireland. And these are the courses like we talked about earlier, where like with Bandon and with Kohler, like the course makes the town. This is the same thing here in the United Kingdom. All of these, from St. Andrews to Royal Troon to Royal Portrush to Murfield, Royal Birkdale, like the course and the town are one. And that's how you get people to travel to these places, year in and year out, is they're there to play golf, but they're also there to enjoy kind of the town, town feeling, with the golf course. St. Andrews is obviously the biggest example of that, but all these other ones have that same kind of, charm and feel. Like when you're in St. Andrews, everyone's there about the golf. The streets lead to the golf course, the clubhouse, the bars, the pubs. It's all there for the golf. That's what people are there for. That's where this golf tourism come in, and that's how the United Kingdom keeps bringing in money every year for people traveling to play these great courses. So to kind of wrap up this whole project, like why does golf tourism work? And obviously the biggest thing is it's available for the public to play. You can play all these courses I talked about. You can play Pebble Beach. You can play St. Andrews. You can play Bandon Dunes. Obviously all you need is time and money, which this really something you can't do in any other sport. You pretty much very few people are ever going to get to play at Yankee Stadium or play at Lambeau Field, or play in any of those iconic stadiums in the NFL or the NBA. But if you've got time and you've got the money, you can play all these elite golf courses that the professionals play. The other big thing is a transportation to another land. Like I said, Disney World for golfers, Bandon Dunes, Pebble Beach. You're there, you're engulfed in the entire idea of this magical land of golf. You're there for the scenery and for the views and just to enjoy yourself. And when you see kids thinking oh, when they're going to Disney World, they're there for the magic and the pageantry. And it's that same kind of feeling when golfers go to Bandon Dunes or they go to Pebble Beach. They're there for that great experience. Foreign travel. This is how people take vacations, and you can play golf in pretty much every country. I believe I read a report that there's over 32,000 golf courses across the world. So take your clubs and you can travel to foreign land, and and play these great golf courses. If you want to go to Australia, South Africa, the Philippines, Canada, all these and even some remote areas have those. This is how people get out and travel. And like I said earlier, the local economy contribution, these towns exist because of the golf. So tourism and golf course go hand in hand. That's how they exist. That's how they make money. That's how they create jobs. The golf course is the hook. And so that's kind of the main reason why I think golf course tourism works. So I hope you learned something in kind of this presentation, and thanks, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.